a 1 million years long walk. A virtual tour in the Laboratory Museum of Earth Sciences of Ustica, to discover the story of the birth and evolution of an underwater volcano that has become an island. LabMust is the acronym of Laboratorio Museo di Scienze della Terra Isola di Ustica, Italy. LabMust is located in a panoramic and symbolic place of Ustica Island, the Falconiera crater. Falconiera is a tough cone of a volcano that was active about 130,000 years ago and now it is extinct. LabMust was set up inside an ancient fortress built by the Bourbons in the second half of 1700s. The fortress was built on the edge of the Falconiera crater, in a position overlooking the main landing place of the island, Cala Santa Maria, and the town of Ustica. The Falconiera area was intensely populated since the Hellenistic Roman age, around the 3rd century before Christ. And now, let's fly over the Falconiera crater. Enjoy this short video. LabMust activity officially started on May 2015, thanks to a Memorandum of Understanding between the City of Ustica and the Istituto Nazionale di Geofisica e Vulcanologia, INGV, promoted by Centro Studi e Documentazione Isola di Ustica. LabMust houses the permanent exhibition Ustica Before Mankind, which illustrates the geovolcanological history of Ustica. A series of windows exhibits samples of eruptive products and fossils of the island. Some instruments and multimedia apparatuses introduce visitors to the main themes of Earth sciences. The definition Laboratory Museum sums up the vocation that we wanted to give to this cultural institution. The museum, with its exhibition area, shows the natural history of the island, easily understandable for ordinary visitors and particularly useful to the hundreds of students who often are on a school trip in the island. LabMust has become also a point of scientific support for the undergraduates who come to Ustica to develop their thesis on the natural features of the island. LabMust promotes researches in the broad field of earth sciences, attracting geologists and volcanologists from all over Italy and from abroad, with the aim of studying the many unique aspects of the island. Why unique? You will find the answer in the next slides. The island of Ustica, 66 kilometers north of the Sicily coast, covers an area of 8.6 square kilometers and reaches the maximum elevation of 248 meters at Mount Guardia dei Turchi, the central and highest relief of the island. The island is the small top of a vast, about 100 square kilometers, submerged volcanic mountain that rises more than 2,000 meters from the bottom of the Tyrrhenian Sea. Ustica was considered by ancient geologists the far western sister of Aeolian Island. But nowadays we know that it is not true. The study of the geovolcanological features of Ustica Island and the chemical composition of its volcanic rocks tell us a very intriguing and peculiar story. The Aeolian Islands volcanic arc was originated by the subduction of the Ionian plate under the Tyrrhenian plate. This slow geological process caused the partial melting of the submerged plaque and the rise of magmas that built the volcanoes of the Aeolian Islands. As geologists say, the Aeolian Islands have an orogenic origin, and their magmas are mainly acidic, that is, rich in silica. The Ustica volcano does not arise from the subduction mechanism, but it was fed by a plume of magma ascended directly from the Earth's mantle, following the opening of a fracture on the seafloor. Volcanoes born in this way are called anorogenic. Ustica is the only anorogenic volcano that emerged from the Tyrrhenian Sea, forming an island. Its magmas are mainly basic, that is with less silica respect to acid magmas. The bottom of the Tyrrhenian Sea, in the last million years, has been subjected to slow geological stretch movements that have caused the opening of fractures or faults. Ustica formation is related to the activation of deep crustal fractures generated by extensional stress. Just from one of these faults, about 1 million years ago, the magma flowed that would have built the volcanic mountain of Ustica. The line of the deep rift that marked Ustica's origin is still imprinted in the island, visible as a scarp in the southwestern sector, the Arso Fault. Come on, let's feel the emotion of walking along the line of the creation of Ustica. On the border between the Spalmator Plain and the Arso reliefs, the Arso Fault is evident. It looks like a small valley, at the end of which stands the with radar dome of Monte Guardia de Turchi. The Arso Fault, although evident only in the southwestern part of Ustica, crosses the whole island. Bathymetric surveys have shown that the Arso Fault continues on the bottom of the sea, on two opposite sides of the submarine volcanic mount. For hundreds of thousands years Ustica's volcanic activity took place underwater. A large and high volcanic submarine edifice was built, little by little. About 520,000 years ago, the summit of the volcanic mount, now Mount Guardia de Turchi, reached the surface of the water. The island of Ustica was born. Ancient submarine lavas, dated 735,000 years ago, are visible along the southern coast, due to the uplift of the island. We can admire them at Capo Falconiera, Cala Santa Maria, and along the Mezzogiorno coast, between the Grotta Azzurra and Grotta delle Pasches. The activity of the first emerged volcano, now Mount Guardia de Turchi, was mainly effusive and strombolian, similar to that of Mount Etna volcano. It was characterized by basaltic lava flows, lava fountains, and lapilli throws. Monte Guardia de Turchi, the first volcano that emerged from the sea, now dominates the landscape of the island. Ancient magmas consolidated inside the volcanic conduit of Mount Guardia de Turchi, and lava flows on its northern slope, are now well visible from the Tramontana Plain and along the Boschetto Road. Cala del Camposanto shows the products of a small eruptive center north of Mount Guardia de Turchi, that was active 520,000 years ago. The alternation of explosive and eruptive activity created a succession of breccias and lavas which can be admired along the high coast overlooking the sea. About 500,000 years ago, Mount Guardia de Turchi ended its activity that moved to another contiguous volcano just born, Mount Costa del Fallo, in the western side of the island. Mount Costa del Fallo was characterized by explosive hydromagmatic activity, caused by the interaction between magma and seawater. Abundant pyroclastic surges spread all around, forming thick deposits of tuffs, visible at the end of the Boschetto Road. For 50,000 years, from 476 to 426,000 of years ago, Ustica's volcanic activity stopped. Magma stagnated in a shallow chamber, changing its composition from basic to acid. This led to a violent eruption subplinian style, almost as violent as that occurred in Vesuvius, in the year 79 AD, when Pompeii and other nearby cities were destroyed. The crater that formed during the subplinian eruption is no longer visible, but gravimetric investigations indicate that it was located in the Tramontana Plain. The subplinian eruption caused the partial demolition of the Mount Guardia dei Turchi northern slope. Some products of the explosion of the Tramontana volcano are well visible in the form of abundant deposits of ash and pumice. We can find them along the road to the radar plant, ash deposit along the Bosqueta Road, Grotta del Lapolo, and at Colleastrello district, Grotta del Lapolo. After the Tramontana explosion, between 400,000 and 350,000 years BP, the activity focused on western and southern area of Ustica. A small eruptive center off the western coast produced lavas of Chalcidone. There, you can find also some problematic quartzite pebbles, popularly known as sparkling stones because they emit a glow when you rub against each other. Since 350,000 years ago, the variations of global temperatures caused the up and down of sea level, the submergence of large parts of the island for long periods, and the creation of sedimentary deposits. In the meantime, the uplift of the whole island, estimated at over 100 meters in the last 350,000 years, has brought to light these sedimentary plateaus which are defined by geologists as marine terraces. Along the Spalmator Road, the lavas of Villaggio represent a stunning volcanic formation, characterized by columnar basalts. In these lavas, formed about 320,000 years ago, the slow cooling of the thick lava flows has produced mighty blocks of prismatic basalts. Here, as shown by archaeological studies, the small Peraza Hill, which looks like a fortress naturally protected by columnar basalts, was chosen by Neolithic men, as the first settlement on the island of Ustica, about 8,000 years ago. And now, let's fly over the Peraza Hill. Enjoy this short video. Another site of significant geological and archaeological importance, is located on the northern coast of Tramontana, in a place called Faraglione, marked by the presence of two stacks, the largest of which is called Colombatio. Here the coast is made by a cliff, about 20 meters high, characterized by columnar lavas, whose formation dates back to 300,000 years ago. Here, prehistoric man founded a settlement that flourished during the Middle Bronze Age, about 3,400 years ago. The Faraglione village represents the most important archaeological settlement so far brought to light in Ustica, and one of the richest and best preserved of the Mediterranean region. And now let's fly over the Faraglione village. Enjoy this short video. The last great eruption of Ustica occurred at the time of the Uterinian marine transgression, around 130,000 years ago, on the eastern side of the island. It was an explosive hydromagmatic activity that built the Falconera tuff cone, maximum height of 157 meters above sea level. The Falconera is the only easily recognizable crater among the volcanoes of Ustica, despite its northern sector has collapsed into the sea. Pyroclastic flows made of ashes, lapilli and hot water, were erupted by the Falconera crater, and covered a colony of Chamaerops humilis, that means dwarf bomb. Some tuff splucks still exhibit the leaf prints of this bomb. In the Mezzaluna Street, at the foot of the southern slope of the Falconera, there is an ancient beach formed during the Uterinian, about 130,000 years ago, when the Mediterranean climate was very hot. In this ancient beach it is possible to find fossil shells as Strombus bubonius, Conus testignarius and Brachydontes puniceus, typical of tropical warm waters. These species are called also Senegalese guests, from their primary marine environment. Between 100,000 and 80,000 years ago, Ustica Island experienced massive deformations, in response to regional geodynamic stress. Deformations provoked a general uplift of the island, more pronounced in the southern sector, faults, and collapses of biggest extinct volcanoes. In 2016, at the request of Labmust, the Regione Siciliana included 3 landscapes of the island of Ustica in the list of geosites of national and international interest. The 3 geosites are, Monte Guardia dei Torchi, the first volcano of the island to emerge from the sea, the fault of the Arso, and the fossil beach of the Tyrrhenian age in Mezzaluna Street. In 2015, at the request of Labmust, the International Astronomical Union, IAU, attributed the name of Ustica to a minor planet, or asteroid, that orbits the Sun, between Mars and Jupiter. The motivation for this prestigious award is summarized as follows on the IAU official website. Ustica is a volcanic island 70 kilometers north of Palermo, Sicily, famous for being the first marine protected area in Italy, 1986. Ustica is the emergent summit of a large seamount with unique features. Its origin is similar to intraplate volcanoes of the Hawaiian type. And now, all that remains is to greet you, thank you for your attention, and invite you to visit the beautiful landscapes that we have shown you in this virtual walk. See you in Ustica.